Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and you probably know that one of the hottest topics this week is Apple stock. No, there's no new iPhone or AirPods, not yet at least, but 2 days ago on Monday, Apple officially split their shares, and you should know why this is important. A lot of people are wondering if now is the right time to buy shares of Apple, so please watch until the end of this video so you can learn whether it's a smart decision or not. Shouldn't you have made this video earlier if the stock split already happened on Monday? While obviously we can't go back in time and compare what Apple stock was like before and after Monday's split, there are facts that we can talk about to help you decide if it's worth putting your hard-earned money into Apple shares right now. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what a stock split is, why this is important, how this affects Apple, and ultimately, should you buy Apple stock right now? But right now, if you hit that like button and subscribe, I would really appreciate it because it really helps me and my channel out with the YouTube algorithm. I make new videos every week, so please join me for some more content on personal finance, investing, and bad acting. It's mostly that last part. So just to get it out of the way, I'm a fan of Apple and I use their products myself. I'm currently filming this video on my iPhone, I love using my AirPods, this audio is being recorded on my MacBook Pro, and I use the Mac all throughout college. But even though Apple's a part of my everyday life, I'm going to try to be as objective as I can. Earlier this week, Apple announced a 4-for-1 stock split, but what exactly does this mean? You get a stock, you get a stock, you get a stock, you get a stock, you get a stock. According to Investopedia, a stock split is when a company increases the number of its outstanding shares by issuing more shares to current shareholders. And if you have no idea what that means, let's do an easier example. But a quick disclaimer is that I'm not a financial advisor or a financial professional in any means. I'm just a guy on YouTube and these are my opinions for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. But with that out of the way, let's say that we have a bougie bakery that sells cakes for $400. These cakes from this bakery are really popular and really good, but $400 for one cake is pretty expensive for most people. As a result, the bakery decides that they're going to take the cakes, divide them into fourths, and sell each section for $100 instead. The cake itself does not change, but now you can buy it for $100 per section instead of $400 like before. But watch until the end of this video to find out why cutting the cake is a good thing. Just like this bakery, Apple's doing the same thing with their stocks. They're going to take their stock price and divide it by 4, but if you already had Apple shares from the past, you will take your quantity and multiply it by 4. But just like the cake and its section... Oh my gosh, I cannot say this. But just like the cake and its sections, please remember that you're not changing the amount of money that you have. Only the number of outstanding shares changes, but the value of the company stays the same. And just like the cake, it doesn't matter how many times you cut it because it'll still taste the same at the end of the day. In Apple's case, right before the stock split, Apple stock went for about $500, so a 4-for-1 stock split would mean that shares would go for $125 instead. What am I, made of money? With more shares in circulation, Apple will see an increase in liquidity and an increase in trading volume because the share price has been reduced. If you think about it from Apple's perspective, $500 per share might have seemed a little high for some investors, so by issuing a stock split and reducing the share price, it becomes a lot more accessible to a lot more people. $125 per share is a lot more affordable than $500, and this makes Apple stock a lot more accessible because the barrier to entry is a lot lower. And speaking of getting lower, if you go down to the lower right hand corner, you can smash the like button and subscribe for more videos on personal finance in the future. One argument of the stock split is that investors can already buy shares at lower prices because of what's known as fractional shares that a lot of brokerages offer. A lot of brokerages like Robinhood, M1 Finance, and Charles Schwab offer fractional shares, which means that you can buy stocks based on dollar amount instead of stock quantity. This means that instead of buying whole shares of a company, you can put like $100 into Apple, Google, or Amazon and get a proportionate amount of stock to your money. But even though fractional shares exist, companies want to keep their price per share low enough so that more investors can buy in at the full share price. But going back to the bakery example, just because the cake is split, it doesn't change how it tastes. In a similar fashion, it doesn't matter what the company's stock price is because the value and the fundamentals of the company are still the same. But make sure you watch this video until the end to see how a company's fundamentals factor into its price. Apple as a company is not changing, but the stock split is making its shares more accessible for more investors. This is not the first time Apple has split their stock, but actually the 5th time since the company went public. The first one was way back in 1987, but now this week in 2020 is stock split number 5. Whenever a company announces a stock split, especially a company as big as Apple, it's going to get a lot of press coverage and a lot of attention. But with all this newfound coverage, there's a lot of hype that goes around Apple, and a lot of people end up rushing to buy it because they want to get in on the action. As a result, there's a lot of speculation and a lot of investors ending up buying into it because they don't want to miss out on any of the gains, and this is what's known as FOMO, or fear of missing out. A lot of investors think that they're going to miss out on some big profits, and they end up buying into it because of FOMO. But you might have some FOMO if you don't smash the like button and watch this video until the end to see if Apple stock is a good buy for you. But anytime a big company announces a stock split, usually that indicates high earnings and that the company is doing really well. If a company is successful and they perform well, usually the stock price per share goes up as a result, but it can get to the point where average Joe investors cannot afford how high the price is. Apple is always innovating their products, performing well, making money, and has really good business fundamentals, so it's no surprise that the price keeps going up. And last quarter, Apple even announced an increase in revenue despite everything that's been going on these past few months. Revenue is trending upwards, growth is steady, and it's expected that profit will go up over time too. One of Apple's keys to profit is their growing services sector. It makes up a good chunk of their revenue already and has a lower expense ratio than their actual products. As their services sector grows, then they'll become more and more profitable over time. Apple is not a speculative penny stock, but it's a solid company that offers a lot of safety and comfort because it has such good financials and such a good track record. Apple is also the largest stock in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, a pretty substantial stock in the S&P 500, and it pays out a pretty nice and consistent dividend. People definitely want to invest in Apple, and the stock split is giving people the opportunity to do so. So now we have the big question, should you buy Apple stock right now? Apple's stock price has been increasing a lot this month ever since the stock split was announced, but remember that stocks can't go up forever. Nobody can predict the future, and just as much as Apple investors want the stock to go up, there's definitely a chance that Apple stock can fall in price tomorrow, next week, or next month. Because Apple has been so hyped and people are riding the wave, now that the stock has split, we might see a short-term drop, but I think it's a safe investment for the long run. Looking at historical data, if we evaluate Apple over the long term and we factor in their previous stock splits, the price per share has actually improved over time. In other words, Apple has gone up in value for decades. I wish I could say the same thing for my dating life. But if you want to know if you should invest in Apple stock, history says it's a good idea. While we can never know for sure, historically, Apple has had good results over the long term. Apple has good financials, and their numbers are really optimistic for the future too. If you think that Apple will be a part of our lives for the next 10 to 20 years and you don't mind holding it for the long term, then I think that this is a good time to invest in it. I personally have been buying and averaging into Apple long before the stock split, but I plan to keep on buying and holding for the long term. Currently, Apple's price per share is about $130, which is a lot more affordable than what it was before. But some people still think that this is too high and they're going to wait for it to drop before buying it. At the end of the day, it all depends on you, your opinion on Apple, and what you think is a justified price to pay for it. Apple has always had a goal to be an approachable company and to be accessible to everyone. They want to see everyone using some sort of Apple product in some sort of way. And even though some of the products might be expensive, they're trying to lower the cost and they're making their newer phones and products a little more affordable. And ultimately, Apple's stock split is a way for them to be more accessible to more investors and to become an even bigger household name than they already are. But I hope this video was helpful in explaining what a stock split is, why it's important, and whether you should be buying Apple stock right now. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button because it lets YouTube know that people enjoy content like this, and I would really appreciate it too. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos on personal finance, investing, and money tips too. Please leave a comment down below and let me know if you're planning on buying Apple stock now that it's split. But speaking of investing, if you want 2 free stocks with one of them valued up to $1,400, click the link down below in the description for Webull. If you're interested in fractional shares and getting 10 free dollars, there's a link down below for M1 Finance too. Thank you so much for watching and make sure you stay financially fashionable.